Hello, Quincy. Mayor Tom Koch here to talk about our fiscal 26 budget, which begins July 1st. It's an annual event each year under the law. The mayor has to appear before the city council 45 days before the end of the current fiscal year and present the upcoming fiscal year's budget. We've done that. The city council, under Dave McCarthy as finance chairman, has had a number of meetings this past week on that. And what I'd like to do is share with you the presentation I made at the council in case you missed it. And perhaps if you have any questions out of this, you certainly can reach out to my office. But it's the only time that I am present in the course of a year to the city council, and that shows you the importance of what the budget is about. The city budget funds everything that we deal with for services, that you deal with the City of Quincy for services. So it's an important time of year. And I really believe that this budget really covers the values that we share as a community: public safety, education, natural resources, infrastructure, all of those areas that we spend a lot of time and effort on with investment to make sure that your quality of life is the best it possibly can be. So I'd like to go to the first slide. And of course, every year the goal is to maintain the current services we have in our departments. This year, we have some additional investment in both our schools and our public safety divisions, which includes both the police and fire departments. So the budget highlights this year, the increase of $36 million, it's up about 8.6%, and 88% of the increase is from fixed costs. Pension obligation bond, which I'm going to get into a little further down on the slide, is 62% of the increase. The healthcare is up 13.8%. And by the way, healthcare across the Commonwealth, private sector, public sector, the plans are up everywhere. The cost of healthcare is up dramatically. Trash and recycling, what you put out at the curb, that's up 7.1%. And energy is up just under 2%. And then, of course, the remaining goes increased. About 11% of that increase is fire department, public schools, and our police department. That's where the significant increases are. So there's fixed costs, and then there's non-fixed costs. This one is the education budget. The school budget increase of $4.2 million. Now, what happens here is the city council can look at the bottom line of the education department, our schools, but it's a school committee that really makes a decision on how to spend that bottom line. As mayor, as chairman, I set that bottom line, but then I became one of 7 members of the school committee making decisions on how to prioritize and spend those dollars. Of course, the superintendent and his team make those recommendations. So we continue to leverage the Massachusetts School Building Authority for continued facility upgrades. We've been very successful, as you know, with new school buildings, with upgrades, boilers, windows, roofs, all those things that don't sound sexy, but are very, very important, providing a very safe learning environment for our kids. Public safety, the fire department, we have 27 new recruits in the academy. 16 of them are being paid for by a federal grant for 3 years. But part of that grant is you can't get lower on the body count than where you're at when you accept that grant. So we're increasing the head count beyond that because we've got a number of retirees over the next 3 years that are projected. So that number is up. And by the way, that only provides better services to the people of Quincy. I've said often that when you ride by a fire station, you see the shiny red truck behind the doors. It doesn't mean anything if it's not adequately manned. And there's a lot of communities that don't have adequate manning. We do. So when somebody gets to a call from whether it's engine 2, engine 5, ladder 4, there's the amount of people on that piece. You don't have to wait for another piece to arrive, to move, particularly when a fire situation. Every second counts when it comes to fire. So we're well manned. We got a great department. Chief Jackson does a great job on that. Police department, we're adding 4 additional patrolmen. We've upped the number each of the past several years with the highest count of patrolmen since the 1970s, which is huge. We're a safe city, and that's not by accident. We get an outstanding police department that does a great job each and every day. We're also adding an investigative liaison and also an evidence control specialist on the civilian side that helps to augment the great professional department that we have. Our debt service, this is something that I know I've been criticized about, but I'd like to walk you through that a little bit. Debt service is much like you with a mortgage at home. You know, that's you can't afford to do everything you want to do on the capital side without borrowing money. I know that over the years we remortgaged a couple of times when we needed to do repairs to the house. It's pretty much the same type of idea. The numbers are much larger, of course, but I want to make sure people understand that there's three different categories. There's the debt service, but within that, there's the debt service that affects all the projects, the schools, the roads, etc. There's the district improvement financing called the DIF, which is the debt service that relates to the downtown. That's separate on the revenue side because it's the downtown taxes, the businesses in the downtown that pay that debt. The third piece is the pension obligation bond, again, which I'm going to get into in more detail, but essentially every city employee pays so much out of their paycheck every week, 9% plus 2% over $30,000 that goes into the retirement system. The city matches the benefits for our city employees. That's the law. So we're part of a pension system that is overseen by the state called PERAC. We have a separate retirement board, and each year we get a bill from the retirement board of what the city needs to pay to augment their investments. What happened a few years ago, they weren't fully funded. They're at 43%. Under the law, by 2040, it has to be fully funded. We made a decision to look at pension obligation bonds. And I'll get into the next slide. But major uses of debt, as I mentioned, schools. Many of the school projects, we've got better than 60%, up to 80% reimbursement for the projects from the state, which is huge. We're on our fifth new school in Squantum that's actually underway as we speak. Roads, sidewalks, water, sewer upgrades. Again, infrastructure needs, investments in our city, natural resources, our parks. Every city park and playground has been done over the last few years. We get comments all the time on how beautiful they are, as it should be. Environmental areas, we completely restored Butler's Pond. This summer, we're beginning the same process at Sailor's Home Pond. It's a bigger pond, a bigger project, but the same idea to restore that pond so it's healthy for the turtles and the fish and the birds, all that use that beautiful environment that we have. Of course, then we have a lot of seawalls and pump stations. All of that comes under debt service, all those improvements. Where somebody says the mayor spends too much, I suggest we're investing. We're investing in the right areas for the future of the city. We can't let this stuff go unnoticed and or unaddressed, for that matter. But when we go before bonding agencies and outside experts, they don't just look at what you have for money in the bank. They look at what your liabilities are, and are you addressing those liabilities? And when you have bad roads, schools that are falling apart, parks that are falling apart, we get a bum rap for that. So over the years, we've addressed all those issues, and we're way ahead of the game. We're not perfect. There's more to do. Particularly if your street hasn't been done yet. I get it. You don't care if the street over has been done. You want yours done. But we've made tremendous progress over the last 10 years in all of these areas, and it's pretty evident. So this is the pension obligation slide I want to show you. As I mentioned, the retirement board is separate. There's 2 elected members from the system itself. The city auditor is a member. I get to appoint 1 member, and then those 4 members appoint an outside board member as well. What we looked at a number of years ago was the graph, which was really going dramatically up to address the shortfalls in that system for all those years. Under state law, again, by 2040, it has to be fully funded. We made a decision, and we brought in all the experts from around the country, from the region, financial experts, and looked at this from every way, from A to Z. How can we tackle this? And what made this possible was essentially borrowing $475 million and fully funding the system. What made that work is we got historic low interest rates, 2.6%. For the borrowing of that money. That immediately went into the system, fully funded our system, and we had dealt with that unfunded liability that the experts had been pointing out for years. It's now taken care of. Now that adds to our debt side, of course, but it was always an issue. So it went from one side of the ledger as an unfunded liability. Now it's being addressed in the debt side. And over the next several years until this is fully funded. Well, it's fully funded, but until the formula, that the state allowed us to put the debt service out, we're going to be saving about $168 million over those years. It's a good business decision, a wise business decision that allows us to continue to move forward. So I challenge folks that suggest that that's debt service too high. When you fully look at the breakdown of it, we're not too high. We're dealing with issues. We're dealing with our unfunded liabilities. We're dealing with infrastructure improvements. These are all areas that should be addressed, and the outside experts continue to give us strong ratings as we do this. Next slide is the healthcare costs. I mentioned the national costs are reflected in local budgets. We look at across the country. I know that we see on the TV the debate in Congress and the president, Medicare, Medicaid, and all these various costs and pharmaceutical costs. Well, it all breaks down into health insurance. And, we as a city offer health insurance as we're required under the law to our employees. But whether it's GIC, the Commonwealth offers, whether it's other plans across the state, they're all up dramatically, anywhere from 8 to 20%. So this budget has a reflection of an 8% increase in that. It's the second highest increase in general across the state on record. So it's one of those fixed costs that we try to address, but it's a necessary cost that we have to deal with. The next slide is recycling and trash collection. And I always want to encourage people to continue to recycle as best they can. Though the recycling market goes up and down, by taking the recycling out of the mainstream, we're saving money because every ton that goes into disposal costs serious dollars. I know we have a very good program. We pick up everything you put out on the sidewalk, but all those things cost money. For example, the state just a couple of years ago informed all of the communities you have to remove mattresses from the waste stream. So no longer does that go into the regular rubbish stream. Therefore, it comes out of the other side. The flip side of that is it costs us an additional $500,000 a year with a separate company to deal with the disposal of mattresses. So it gets complicated, but I know the city traditionally is a good rubbish pickup. We're not messing with that. There's communities all around us that you have to pay extra fees to get your rubbish picked up. You don't have to do that in Quincy. It's reflected in your taxes. Public Works, I did mention. We got 211 miles of roads in Quincy and about 308 miles of sidewalks. And over the last several years, we've replaced 70 miles of those roadways. That is significant, folks. That's more than a third of the city's sidewalks and streets. The sidewalks, 130 miles have been repaired or replaced. Water lines, as you know, we've been doing gas mains, water lines, sewer mains, drain lines, all those things underground that we don't necessarily appreciate until maybe it fails. I know if you turn your faucet on, I know if you flush your toilet, everything's working. You don't think about the infrastructure that's required, but there's a lot of underground infrastructure, and we've been addressing that infrastructure for the last several years. We're making good progress on all those areas. So again, some say spending, I say investing in our future, and certainly providing a much better opportunity for the future generations. Water and sewer, this is another area that I always brag about. If you have a backup in your sewer, you can call 24/7 our Public Works Department. We have sewer crews that are on duty that go out, respond, and clean out that blockage that could be in your own line between the house and the sidewalk, or it could be in the street. Most cities and towns do not offer that. You have to call Mr. Drain or Boston Drain or whatever the company are that you'd look up on the internet, the old Yellow Pages days. So we're proud of that service as well. I know I hear from people all the time the great professional services that are provided by our crews. We also have a very active lead line replacement program for homeowners. We've replaced almost all the lead lines in the city. We're still trying to tackle some. These are the private lines that go into the houses, not necessarily the city lines. The city lines are all good and clean, but there are some homeowners that just don't want, for whatever reason, to allow us to fix them, but we're chipping away at it as is required by the state. Recreation Department, part of the Department of Natural Resources, actually phenomenal. This is another area where many communities do not provide nearly the services that we have year-round, whether it's after school in the gymnasiums or the summer program at playgrounds, the summer clinics. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. And we hire our own Quincy kids, whether they're in high school or they're in college, and do the great work in coaching and teaching at all our playgrounds and all the programs. We continue to see an increase in demand, particularly in pickleball. The older population seems to be really enjoying that. We're just finishing up construction of 8 new pickleball courts up at Faxon Park, which are going to be opened up in June, which would be a great addition to the facilities that we have citywide. Our Blinken Hancock Community Pool, there's about 1,000 members that belong to that. Beyond what we do for teaching, these are people that join the pool. As a city resident, you can join the pool. You should check into that. Any questions you have on that, feel free. As you know, we had a very successful season again with our ice rink that was in the downtown. That all falls under the Recreation Division. And again, Commissioner Murphy, his team, they do great work on that. I'm very proud of our Recreation Department. Kennedy Center, another great spot. Kennedy Center was the old Miles Standard School, which was built many, many years ago to house the Navy housing out at Squantum Gardens. Obviously, we've evolved from that. We picked the Kennedy Center to be the home of our seniors citywide. We had no senior center until we opened up the Kennedy Center. And as I understand it, there's roughly 10,000 people a year that they get service somehow through the Kennedy Center. That could be the van program being picked up for a medical appointment. That could be going down for an event. That could be going down for a luncheon. Could be going down to play cards, sing, learn computer skills, all kinds of programming happening down there. And Michelle handling the team down there doing great, great work. We've added a position this year in the budget called Senior Fraud and Scam Liaison. Now, this isn't a police personnel. This is somebody that has incredible background and going to assist seniors going forward. Try to be proactive about it. Get the messages out everywhere to the seniors of all the different scams that are out there. You should never fall for anything over the phone. Sounds too good to be true. It is. If there's something that somebody's on the other end of the phone that has you under duress, you should never respond. You should call the police department, call the counseling agent, call a family member before you do anything. Never give out banking information or any kind of social security numbers over the phone, ever. Just a reminder. So this person's going to really focus on those kinds of issues so we can really reduce the amount of seniors that get frauded over the course of time. The left side, it just shows you the amount of departments that we have in the city. City is a great city, but not everybody uses all the services. You know, the mission of the city is to provide the greatest quality of life for all our residents. That comes in different forms. First and foremost, as I mentioned, is being safe. Police and fire departments are the most professional, well-staffed, well-funded in the Commonwealth. Proud of the work they do. They keep us safe. The next thing in local government, I think, that we do that's most important is educating our kids. Out of the 25 largest school districts in Massachusetts, we have the highest retention rate of teachers. That's remarkable. We've got a well-funded system. We've got dedicated teachers and staff that come to work every day, providing great opportunities so every kid has a chance to succeed. So I'm so proud of our city school system that does great work. And then, of course, you may never had kids, but maybe the library's your thing. You like to go to the Thomas Crane libraries that provide services and opportunities, incredible resources. They do great, great work. I mentioned the Kennedy Center already. Veteran Services does incredible work for our veterans. If you're a veteran out there and you want to find out a little bit more about what you may be available for you, you should reach out to a Veteran Services Department. But of course, Public Works does the day-to-day infrastructure of the streets and the sidewalks and the sewers and the drains. As I mentioned, the parks are beautiful. Department of Natural Resources doing incredible work. Then there's the backbone, the treasurer's office, the financial systems, the assessor's office, all the folks that work administratively to make sure that everything is working well. Obviously, the bills get out, the money gets collected so the departments can operate. City IT departments, the backbone of every department, providing the IT backup that we need in this day and age. Traffic and parking. I mean, I could go on and on, the departments that do incredible work each and every day. I'm proud to serve as the mayor of the city, but also proud to serve with so many dedicated city employees that put on the line each and every day because they love the city, and I'm so proud of all the work that they do. So this is kind of a snapshot on the budget for fiscal 26. I'm grateful for you tuning in. Again, if you have any questions on any of these issues, feel free to reach out to my office directly, or if you see something in there, you could reach out directly to one of the department heads in the area that might be of concern to you. At any rate, again, thanks for tuning in. See you soon.